When the dead refused to rest the night I heard my own name being called from the grave, I knew something had gone wrong with the world. The voice was low and dry, like leaves rubbing together. It came from behind the old mango tree near the burial ground. I froze, my basket slipping from my hand, yams rolling into the dust. No one should call a living person from that place after sunset. Everyone in our area knew that rule, even children. My name is Sadiq. I am not a hero. I sell phone cards and recharge power banks near the bus stop in our neighborhood on the edge of the town. People know me as quiet and careful. I do not fight. I do not chase trouble. That night, I was only late because my aunt sent me to return a bowl to a neighbor. The moon was thin, like a broken fingernail, and the street lights were already blinking tired yellow. When the voice called again, it sounded closer. It said my name the way my mother used to say it when I was small, slow and gentle. My chest tightened. My mother had been buried 3 years ago, after a short sickness that came like rain and left just as fast. I had watched them lower her into the ground. I had thrown sand with my own hands. The dead do not speak. That is what we tell ourselves so we can sleep. I ran. I did not look back. I ran past the mango tree, past the low fence, past the place where candles sometimes melt into strange shapes. My feet slapped the earth, and my breath burned. Behind me, something followed, not running, just moving, as if the ground itself was sliding forward. I reached our compound and slammed the gate. The night went quiet, too quiet, like it was holding its breath inside. My aunt was awake, counting money by the lantern. She looked at my face and stopped. She asked what I saw. I told her I heard something. She shook her head and told me to wash my feet and drink water. Fear, she said, enters through dirty feet. I did what she said, but my hands would not stop shaking. From outside, the dogs began to whine instead of bark. The next morning, news spread like smoke. An old man's grave had collapsed near the mango tree. The soil had sunk in, as if something heavy pressed from below. People gathered, talking fast. The elders said it was rain. The women said it was ants. No one mentioned the voice. I kept quiet. Ordinary people survive by keeping quiet. That evening, the calling started again. Not just my name this time. Other names flow. That evening, the calling started again. Not just my name this time. Other names floated through the air, soft and broken. A child's laugh followed, then a cough I recognized from the tailor who died last year. Lights flicked on and off across the street. People pulled their curtains tight. Doors locked. The imam's loudspeaker crackled by itself, whispering words that made no sense. I tried to sleep, but the bed felt like it was breathing. In my dreams, the ground opened like a mouth. Hands reached up, not grabbing, just pointing. I woke up sweating. Outside, footprints appeared in the dust, forming by themselves, leading from the burial ground toward our houses. They stopped at doors and windows, then vanished. The elders finally spoke. They said the dead were restless. Something had been done wrong. A promise broken. A debt unpaid. They told everyone to stay indoors after sunset. They poured libation at the burial ground and spoke long words to calm the soil. For a short time, the night listened. Then the calling returned, louder, angrier. I began to feel watched, even in daylight. Mirrors showed faces behind me that vanished when I turned. My phone rang with missed calls from numbers that did not exist. When I answered, there was only breathing. I stopped going to the bus stop. I stopped charging phones. Hunger is easier than fear, but fear followed me everywhere. One afternoon, a small boy came to my door. He said his grandmother wanted to see me. His eyes were dull, like cloudy glass. I knew his grandmother had been buried last month. I told him to go home. He smiled, too wide, and said she was waiting. When I blinked, the boy was gone, and the ground where he stood was cold. That night, my aunt confessed something. Years ago, during a bad season, the elders had moved bones from old graves to make space for new ones. They did it quietly. They did not perform. The calling changed after that. It was no longer gentle. It demanded. It asked for names, for truth, for payment. Doors rattled. Plates cracked. People woke with soil under their nails. One man was found standing at the burial ground at dawn, smiling, his eyes empty, his pockets full of dirt. I felt a pull toward the mango tree, like a rope tied around my chest. Each night, it tightened. I fought it, pressing my back against the wall, covering my ears. Still, my feet moved on their own. I reached the gate without remembering how. The air outside felt thick and cold. At the burial ground, the earth breathed. The collapsed grave had widened. From inside, voices rose together, not shouting, just speaking at once. They said the ground must be made right. They said someone must listen. They said my name again. I did not answer, but my mouth opened by itself. I saw shapes forming in the pit, not full bodies, just outlines, like memories trying to stand. I recognized faces, neighbors, friends, my mother. She looked at me without anger. She looked tired. The ground shifted, and I felt myself leaning forward, closer to the edge. Behind me, footsteps approached. More people had come, drawn like I was. Some cried. Some smiled. The air filled with whispers, thick and heavy. The mango tree creaked, its roots twisting, breaking the soil. The pit widened again, reaching, inviting. A hand touched my shoulder. It was warm, alive. I turned, hoping it was my aunt, hoping it was anyone living. The voices paused, waiting. The ground went still, as if listening for my choice. My heart pounded so loud I thought it would split the night. As I looked back at the pit, the voices began to speak as one, softer now, patient, calling me forward, calling others by name, calling the past into the present, and the earth beneath my feet started to sink, slowly, gently, like it was opening a door that had been closed for far too long. Subscribe to watch what happened in the next part of the story.